Okay. So, any doubt from the last day or the assignment? Have you completed the assignment? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Have you completed the assignment?
Yes, sir. Sir, I did, but I left my laptop on my hostel, sir. Actually, sir, I'm in
Okay.
home.
Okay. No issue. So, any issues from
Okay, sir.
any of you? Just if you have any doubts or if something is pending, you can ask.
Sir, I am also in home. That's why I'm not completed the whole assignment. So,
So, have you gone through the questions? All the
yes, sir.
questions.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But not completed all program.
Okay. So let's start today. Today, I will start from the object-oriented concept. Before that, the last day I show you the lambda function and some string formatting, I think, and some dictionary and the tuples. That's all is done. So let's start with your object-oriented concept. Okay, all right. First, before that, whenever I'm going to start a object-oriented concept, there is one concept that preliminary mean, and I also told that that is procedure programming language. So can you tell me what is procedure? Just guess it. Okay. Uh, all of you knew about C programming language. It's a middle level language, right? Can we apply object-oriented concept there?
No, sir.
So we can implement C using the functions, right? Only the functions. After that, we can use a structure format, but no concept like object or that kind of thing. So procedure system or procedure oriented environment are these environment whenever everything is done by the functions or multiple function or a single function as usually. That is a concept of the procedure programming language that came from the concept of your assembly language. uh, Maybe I don't know deep about that, but I think you guys aware of it who are from CSC background. uh, Subroutines or routines, if you have gone through the microprocessor or microcontroller subject, subroutines or routines. So basically they are nothing but known as the functions call, or more precisely we say these are the procedures call. So as C programming languages, it is we only apply the function, and some function methodologies like your recursions and that's or tail recursions we can apply there. So above that, before that we cannot use any advanced kind of structure in C programming language. That's why it is called the procedure programming language. Let me write it down. So procedure programming language, everything we implement using the functions, as I told you, the functions. In object-oriented programming language, there is one concept of our class and object. I think all of you know about it, class and object, because in Java, this concept is similar to the Java, but in Python, it is not follows the truly system of your object-oriented concept. Next, procedure programming language, it follows top-down approach. And object-oriented concept is bottom-up approach. Now, what is top-down approach and what is bottom-up approach? So now don't think about the compiler or the interpreter concept. That is different. Think from the approaching styles. That is this top-down approach. In see what happened. Everything executes from the execution starts from the beginning, from the main function. After that, we again and again whatever we have written, it executes one by one, one by one, one by one. Right. This bottom-up approach means it starts from the bottom and call throughout the programming, throughout the program. That means it did not to follow like this line. Suppose this one line need to execute, after that 3, after that 5, after that 10. That oriented manner, it does not require. It calls specifically whenever, suppose our programming is needed, or whenever our some method is needed, we can call that time, or some structure, some variables we needed, we can call that time. Don't need to follow that type of pattern that we have to declare the variable first, then comes to the method oriented, then comes to the first we have to declare the method signature, then variables, if it is global then outside the main, if it is local then inside the main, then comes out all the structure one by one as it is. But in object oriented concept, it is most of them are dynamic type and dynamically casting, you can say. In Java we have to follow it with the data types, but in Python it is completely dynamic data type. So that's why it is called the bottom up approach. Whenever we have required, whenever we needed, we basically call the method, or we basically fetch the method and we use it. Don't need to follow that kind of approach. Next, in procedure, it is very less efficiency, you can say. Less efficient, which in the sense complexity analysis and some type of features we cannot use again and again. That I will tell you. Don't worry. We can say that this is a little bit more efficient. So this is the basic difference of procedural programming language and object programming language. So remember all the time that procedural programming language are those which follows the function calls, or which only follows the functions call. Now comes to the object oriented programming language. See, here is one term we already most of the time have written, that object oriented. System, we can say, or okay. Now why it is called object oriented all the time? See, I'm giving you one example of it. Suppose all of you went to the market, okay, and you carried one single bag. You went to a vegetable market, or you went to a shopping malls. So whatever you required, like some clothing if you wanted to purchase, or some deodorant, or some other kind of stuff if you want to if you wanted to purchase, at the time leaving from the mall, you basically store it through your own system. Sorry, you can store it through your own bag, right? Everything you store it into the same bag. That is one way we can do the shopping. The second approach is, suppose we went to a mall and we instead of carrying a single bag, we carrying a bag where different pockets are there. Okay, and if some items are small, then we assign them into some sensitive pockets. If some items, sorry, if some items are very big, or if some is different, like the clothings, there is some separate section for the clothing, some separate section for the jewelries, some separate section for your soap or face wash or that kind of stuff, which is some sensitive stuff. So the second approach is the first approach, second approach. In the both way, we can carry out the shopping, no issue. But the second approach is more efficient because we basically provide some extra systematic or extra oriented manner, so they can do the better shopping, or they can do a very less comfortable a more comfortable shopping, we can say. So why the thing came, see, when we carry the bag with the pockets, so every pockets represents something, like the jewelries pockets are different, as well as your clothings or shirts pockets are different. So see, every pocket has some kind of little bit aim oriented, got it? Some kind of we need some kind of aim, or some kind of, we can say, that intention. For some kind of intention, we build that type of pocket. From that concept, the term came, this object oriented programming system. That means whenever into object oriented concept, whenever we are going to build a programming style, every structure should be created with some kind of object related. What kind of object? Suppose you wanted to suppose there is some employees, you wanted to declare the details of the employee. Okay, so we created some kind of structure, it only defines all the details oriented about the employees. Clear? Got it, or do I have to repeat it again? Anyone, just ping me.
Repeat me again.
Yes, yes, got it.
So repeat it once more time.
Okay, procedure is clear. Okay, let me tell you one example of object oriented concept. Our backpacks. Okay, in our backpacks there is several section. For your laptop there is one pocket, for your books there is another pocket. Okay, for your clothes also, for some kind of your valuable items, there is some of the bags there is some separate or some hidden pockets are there, right? So every pockets are built with some kind of intention, some kind of aim, right? Whenever we are going to use it, we know that these pockets are built for that purpose only. We can store we can store money in the hidden items, we can store some kind of another thing into the hidden item also, but they're kind of some aim related it with, like uh, into the channel, into the pocket of books, we can store the clothes also. Okay, but some section are built for that purpose also, like the laptop section. The laptop section is built mostly for the storing of the laptop only. Okay, so why I'm saying this thing repeatedly again and again, that is, each individual pockets represent something. That means some kind of intention related with whenever we are going to use it, right? That concept apply into the programming language also. So in object oriented programming language, whenever we are going to represent some kind of real time behavior or some kind of our real time characteristics, what happened, we have to remember one thing, that every every way or every process that should be related with some kind of your our object. Like suppose I wanted to describe, I wanted to create a employee details, that kind of structure. So that structure only represent the employee details, or it has something that will tell about the employee, all the details about the employee, right? Nothing others. So see, this that structure only represent the employee details. So we can say that that structure, what is the aim? what is the aim of the structure? Nothing but to get or to the view or to get known of the employee details. So that kind of aim or that kind of things is oriented along with our systems or along with our languages. That's why it is called the object oriented programming language, because everything is kind of our object oriented. Every single bits, every steps or every procedure are object oriented. And in object oriented programming language system, we use that this object to create or to perform every description of our systems or of any app or if any programming files, anything there. That means if I now go into the deeply, that means into our programming structure, in object oriented programming language there is one kind of special concept, that is class and objects. You guys already knew about this. So these class and objects, what is the class? Nothing but if we say that this class has all the description written in it, and the object is nothing but it defines the class or it executes the class. I will come up with this thing again. So why it is called this object oriented programming system? So from the example, if I say that this backpack is built for some kind of your or you can say that every pockets in your backpack are built for some kind of or aim, not other purpose. In generalistic way, we can say this thing. That's way we can create a programming language that only defines uh, that kind of aim related criteria, like uh, as I say, the employee details or the employee description. That's why it is called the object oriented programming languages. And yes, obviously there is some other characteristics is came also, that I will also came. So now comes with the what are the characteristics of the OOPS. First comes a class. Objects are computed. First comes a class. From the class, you guys will find out that this term mostly used for the class description, blueprint, not this one. uh, Structure, or not architecture, structure or steps. uh, 1 minute guys, just. Okay, so structure or steps. Sorry, just 1 minute. Okay, so in class you guys will find out that there is one term related with that. The class is called the blueprint of the object. Okay, not structure, not the steps. Now the main point comes, what why it is called the blueprint, not the structure. What is the difference between these two? The structure represents some kind of, or either maybe it's a pictorial representation, or maybe it's a textual representation, or some kind of visual representation of some kind of things. Steps means some kinds of steps this is involved to solve something. But what is the difference between blueprint, or more precisely if I say, that is the design. If you find out, So not design, design is never said. I'm writing it, read. Design is never said. What is the difference between this blueprint and design? The main difference is that the blueprint is not only describe about the designs, it's also describe the way to behave, the way it behaves, and how to implement the particular things that comes with the blueprint. Like whenever we are going to create a class, inside the class we does not only include the data member, that we not only design the data members, we also designs that how it behaves or how we need to use, how we are going to use this thing. Okay, that's why it is called the blueprint of the object. Clear all? Again you guys find out that it is a logical representation. Now what is logical representation? So before that, everyone clear up to this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now you guys already learned about that one is called the logical representation, one is called physical representation. Can anyone say what is the difference between these two? What is logical representation, what is physical representation? Just guess it, don't worry. Any guess? It is very easy.
Sir, logical representation won't take any memory.
Logical
Representation won't take any memory and
yeah
space.
logical, see, it's very simple. Whenever we are talking about from any context or any area, whenever we talk about that logical concept or logical something, that means it is physically, it does not exist. Never ever you cannot see it physically. Okay, physical representation means it has the memory, it physically exists. Actually we can see, you can sense, or we can view, we can visualize it clearly. That is the main. So class is called the logical representation. Why it is called logical representation? Because it does not acquire the memory. How? Just think like that. Suppose I wanted to build up a building. Okay, so if I'm going to build up, first I have to create a blueprint, a building, sorry, apartment, right? If I'm going to create an apartment, then what happened? First into the blueprint, all of the structural, all of the behavioral details is located there. But can we practically visualize the actual building? Obviously not. We have to build up first, then we can visualize. So into my design it is exist. We can we can draw or we can express our idea with the design, but physically we cannot represent the whole content or whole context. So that is the difference between physical and logical representation. Now why it is class is called logical representation? Because as you guys already know that it is not physically, it does not acquires any memory. So you can say that no memory it acquires. No memory it acquires. Next is here all the behavioral details, behavior as well as structure dynamics. What do I mean by that? That into this class, first let's come to the structure details. Structure details are those things basically which represent that particular block. Suppose into my class, basically what we declare there nothing but the data members. Like maybe it's a class data members, or maybe it's some kind of your static data members, or maybe some global data members. We can define there. Yes, in Java programming language we can define a global variable or global data member inside a method also with some keyword. that I will show. Now, what is a behavior details? These data member, how they will behave. For that reason, we need to create the objects. Oh, sorry, we need to create the methods. The method represent the characteristics of the each of the data members or each of the classes. Okay. Suppose I wanted to create one employee. If I create describe method, into the describe method, I have declared all the his personal details. If I call out the method means nothing but a function. If I call out the method, my details automatically came. So these methods basically this represents all the behavior, all the characteristics of the class, and all the structural that represent by the data members. Nothing but your class. Maybe it is a local data members or local variables. Okay, maybe some kinds of another class objects also. Okay, or maybe some kind of global data members also. That's all. So that's all about the class. Clear, everyone? Any doubt? Now this class is nothing but this class, as we say that this is the class and this is a logical thing, that we have to create something, some kind of existence, so we can clearly visualize that okay, this class actually we can implement or actually we can exist, right? If we cannot create its physical existence, so there is no way we can use it. For that reason, the consequence, that is nothing but our object. Okay. What is object? First, it is physically exist.
It takes memory, sir.
Hmm?
Takes up the memory, right, sir?
Definitely it takes time. Now that's what I'm going to say, that it is object physical. So can we physically visualize? Yes, we can physically visualize, because I will show that whenever we will create the object acquires the memory. It has the memory. Next is this object basically it whatever the I told you, the details mentioned in the class, we can access each of the thing using the objects. We can implement, not access, we can implement each of the thing using the objects. Okay, it physically exists, it has the memory, it is implements description of the class. Clear? Next is next concept, as I told you about method. Tell me this thing, you guys already know it. What is the difference between method and function?
Function has a return value.
And method? I'm writing it out in your way. Is method equal to function or not? What would be the value? It is true if it is declared under class, or else, okay, let it down with some other form.
Really attached with an object, you can say. Form में tag होता है object, sir.
See, method and function are same thing. The other way, method, function is the method and method is the function. But what is the, why the name is different, the nomenclature is different, nothing but when the function is defined under a class, it is called the method. When it is declared outside the class, it is called the function. That's all. You can call the function as method also, no issue, there is no mistake, but a single percentage of logical mistakes are there. Okay, other than same thing as the function. What is the main thing? What is the main part of the function? That is, function always have a signature part, and function always returns a value. Always, all the time, function returns a value. Method also do the same.
Sir, function is declared outside the class, right?
Function did outside the class. Clear? Next. So basically, method or function are the same. No doubt. Now, void. Whenever a function does not return
Sir.
anything, yes.
Sir, this function uses object.
Function uses objects. I don't get your question. Function never uses any object. Like the method. Method never uses any object. Object uses the method.
Okay.
Remember.
Oh, yeah,
Whenever,
okay, sir.
yes, the function at the time the function, the object concept will never came because there is no oops concept. Okay, let it outside, not class, outside oops. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Inside oops. Any function that is declared inside the object-oriented concept is known as the method. Or any function that is declared outside the object-oriented concept, that is known as the function. Same
Function.
thing, same functionality, same definition. Now comes to the void part. What is void? Tell me, what is void?
So it doesn't return
What?
any value.
It doesn't return any value.
Null.
Null value.
Kind of that concept, none concept. That means when as I told you, that function always returns something, always, all the time. So if there is some no return value present into that function, so it is basically reflecting that our concept, that we are not changing, we are not basically returning something, but function should return something. So there is some kind of this misconception arise between that. To remove that thing, we use the void. Void means it is returning nothing. Very simple way, if I say, it is returning nothing objects. Now kind of like your, if some data is not present into something, so that is nothing but your null. That's way it is returning something, that is your void. So another way we can say this thing, but in advanced or in upgraded function of your programming languages, that concept is discarded. That void can accept all the data types, like it can accept integer also, it can accept float also, it can accept character also, anything. But as the programming language is evolving, so upgraded version, this concept is discarded. This concept completely discarded because it creates issues. It creates issues in the typecasting formatted. So let it next. So one is our returning type, and second one is our signature. Now you guys can ask, that is, what about the body part? Right, we can declare the body part, we may not be declared the body part, right? Are you all agree with that concept, or any confusion, ping me, then I will tell you something else. Is there any way we can declare the we can uh, we can declare the whole method without having its a body part?
Yes, sir.
One example.
So like abstraction.
Yeah, like abstract class.
Interface.
No, interface is different. Like a abstract method cannot contain any body part, it is only the signature part. So that's all. Body part may be present, may not be present. That's all. In Python it is also very simple. We can use the pass statement directly to pass the control. Now constructor, These are all the object-oriented concept. Okay, but when we use in Python, then you will find out that some of the concept is different, or some of the concept is not supported in Python, because Python is not truly object-oriented programming language completely. So what is constructor? Constructor is a special type of method. Special method in oops. So what is the characteristics of the constructor? So first come with the characteristics. Constructor has the, as we said, that it is the special method, so definitely it has a special functionality, special characteristics, definitely.
It
So
initializes objects.
it is said that the constructor initializes the objects. So that concept, if we say, basically constructor basically used, or constructor basically it is called at the time of the object creation. Okay, so as it is always called at the time of the object creation, so it returns some special type of things. You guys already know that constructor does not return any data type. That is, we cannot say completely right, because constructor is a method, and method always returns something, as I told you. That is the hardcore concept of your programming languages. So constructor also returns something, as it is not returning any kind of your integer data or float data or character data or any kind of a string data. That's why we say directly that constructor has no return type. But as you say that constructor is used to initialize the object, or initialize the object, so it returns the instance of the object, right? Not instance of the object. I'm writing down a line. Okay, two way I'm writing. First I'm writing in your Java oriented, then suppose a class is C equal to new C. Now Python. Next. First let's talk about this thing, because this thing is very easy to understand the object concept. Python, it is maximum part is hidden in between that. Whenever we use that one, this is nothing but the constructor of my class C, because a constructor is same as class name and same as class name. That is it. So when use the new keyword, what happens? Remember all the time, this new keyword is used to create a new memory. Okay. Now next thing, after creating that new memory, this part came. This thing. What would be assigned into that memory? Nothing but this part. What is this thing? This is nothing but the constructor. Clear all? Any confusion? This is nothing but the constructor of this class C. This thing we have written in Java language, right?
Yes.
So when you call this thing, this is nothing but my constructor. So what is assigned into that memory? Nothing but this constructor has the initialization of some class value. Okay. Basically, it creates a memory, nothing but a physical memory inside my RAM. Into that RAM, what is the assigned value? The assigned value would be some address or some reference. It creates one reference. What would be the reference of it? Nothing but the reference of this class C. Okay. That reference value is returned and it is assigned into the object. Nothing but a small c, the object name. Up to that clear, everyone? If you also, then this object has also another name. The name is object is known also as the reference variable of the class. Clear? So how it is the reference variable? Nothing but object contains the reference value of the class instance or the class initializations. Clear? Now that is done using the constructor. That you have said that constructor is used to initialize the object. That's why constructor initialize the object. Now in Python way, we don't have to declare this class name first. Just create any kind of your object name. We can say, okay, we can say here it's an object name or maybe it's a variable name. And after that, just call the constructor. Don't need to use the new keyword because Python is completely or fully dynamic typing and dynamic casting also. So that's happened. That's all about the constructor. Now the constructor is also has this class name. Constructor has two types. One is parameterized. Actually in general 3 types. Actually non-parameterized, and the third one is default. Default constructor. 3 type of constructor are there. First is parameterized. What is parameterized? Nothing but if there is no parameter written inside the constructor, that is parameterized constructor. Non-parameterized constructor are those constructor which has inbuilt some parameter written, like that I will show you. Parameter, non-parameterized in Python. Uh, I can see some constructor are parameterized or some constructor non-parameterized. That I will show. Don't worry. Now the default constructor. Default constructor are those constructor which is called automatically. We need not to declare. Suppose in Java, default constructor is not there in Python programming. This concept is not present in Python programming language, but in Java it is present. That is, if some constructor is not there, but by default, whenever we are creating the instance or creating the object of the class, the one constructor is automatically called. That is known as a default constructor. So that's all about the constructor. So up to this, everyone clear? So let's start with a simple class program first. So I'm declaring a class. First we need class keyword, then a class name. This is a Python. Some of the time we'll find out there is one parenthesis present here. This parenthesis, if you can declare it here also, you can skip this thing here also, but it is used for some characteristics of it, nothing but the inheritance characteristics. Define class. Then here in Python, the concept of the constructor is little bit different. Basically in Python, the constructor to this concept, the class name, the constructor name should be same as the class name.
Hello,
That
sir.
concept is, yes.
Hello.
Yes, tell me. Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes, tell me.
Our internet connection is not good, I think. Can you please say about that Python C, that constructor? I didn't get that.
Okay. This one, na? Okay. See the constructor. What is the constructor? The constructor has the only one purpose. Constructor is used for create the for use to object creation, nothing but that is it. Okay, let it repeat the thing again. The constructor is only used to initialize the no, to initialize the memory for it. Or others, please mute. Okay, as I am saying that this constructor is used to initialize the memory or initialize the class instance. That is one of the main functionality of the constructor. It is a special method in object-oriented programming concept which has the same name as the class name. As it is a special method, so that it would be some special characteristics of it.
So as a special method, it will return a value, right, sir?
No, the actually a function always return a value. That is concept on the function concept. Okay, but a constructor is a special method that is always stay, or it is always come with some special characteristics. Okay, now this what I am saying here, I am saying that this new keyword is used to create a memory. Most of the time, anywhere in any programming language, if you saw that new keyword is present, just from hardcore, just think this new keyword is used for create a memory, nothing but anywhere. Now this new using the new keyword, it creates one memory. And see this is nothing but one kind of our constructor. This is constructor representation. If I say, okay, I forget one thing, and you guys don't tell me that there should be one semicolon bounded by it here. This is nothing but my constructor. Just mute others. Now why this is so, into the memory which type of data that would be assigned. Basically accessing this whole content, we basically physically initiates or instantiate the class. The class instance is stored into the memory block, and the memory reference is stored into my object. Okay, that means after new keyword, what type of data store into that memory part? Nothing but the class initializations or physical initialization of the class value. Nothing but one reference, one reference, I forgot the term actually. Okay, the physical representation of the class that is stored, the reference, the class representation is stored into that particular memory, and that reference assigned into this one, nothing but the object. It is said object, and the another name of the object is nothing but the
President.
reference variable. Simple. Reference variable. Object is also known as a reference variable.
Okay.
Now Python is also same thing. The same concept is done also Python, but see, in Python we don't have to declare this thing as well as this thing, because as Python is completely dynamically typing as well as dynamically casting, so it is automatically done. We don't have to declare it. Whenever we create a variable and we just do this type of way, basically store the reference of that class, the physical reference of that class, nothing but the objects.
Okay.
Clear all? So now there is the characteristic like your inheritance, abstraction, and the polymorphism encapsulation that I will come with the concepts. But first represent that class, because Python is little bit different than your Java, than normally object-oriented concept. So this is nothing but my class. So now I'm going to create a constructor. So see, in Python, always whenever we are going to create a method, we have to use the def keyword. Here also we have to use the def keyword. Okay, best thing is I can do it into the console spider directory directly. And one thing, let me tell you, that is in Python, this concept, the constructor names that should be same as the class name, that is not present. Here the constructor is defined with only one way or one concept, that is it is called automatically when the object is created. So Python, all the constructor is written like that format. Double underscore, I'm taking one space here. This is init. It is a one type of constructor here. So somewhere you will find out that this is said as the some special method, not constructor. Sometimes you find. So it is said to be constructor as it is called directly when the object is created. Nothing but the name is also not the similar like the class name, and some kind of different representation are also there. There are lots of, you can build by your own also. Now these every function has special characteristics other than the object creation. The special characteristic is represent with the each of the constructor. So most of the time we only use this init or dict or string. The doc is used sorry, less of the time. And there is also some another others constructor are present, but we don't use this in general way. So what is init or init constructor? Init constructor is used to initialize the file. This dict constructor basically it has all description. And as well as the string, as well as the doc. Doc is also, it represents all the, actually I forgot actual function, I use it very much earlier. Most of the time these two type of constructor we used string. Okay, so why I declare these two things? Because right now I will use this one only init, and there is one special type of things that we have to use for Python only. So let's start. Any doubt still here? Okay. So I'm declaring one class here. All you can see my screen. Okay, let it increase. Now it is okay.
Yes, sir.
Class employee. I just get one employee class. Now we can use this thing or we can remove this thing. Right now I don't require it here. Okay, so first this constructor is nothing but one method, so we have to use that type of way. So see, I use double underscore, then init, then again double underscore, then bracket. This definite method. Okay. So suppose think like that. For that, I'm using the past statement. What is the past statement represent? Nothing but it will say do nothing and pass to the next execution. Let build two construct, two object. Now see this thing very carefully. This E is one object of the employee class. This E2 also one object of the employee class. So I'm printing these two objects. Again, I'm also printing the class. Let's see what happens. See, this is the first object. This is the reference of the first object. Okay, a hexadecimal address. This part I think it will not large more. This is for also the second. This is the second object. And this is the third. Now see, it is calling from the main. Main is also one constructor. Now, as I told you, these two has the physical reference or physical value. That's why we can clearly see that these two have the memory acquires in it. This class does not have any memory. See, is there any memory? It is said that this object at means the located. It is located at that location and as well as that location. But the class, there is no location reference here because it's a logical thing. Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
That's why you can say that the class has the no value. Now let's change the pass and use the init. Now, if I run the file, let's check. See, it is throwing one error. Why it is throwing the error? Now, remember this thing very carefully that whenever we are going to use the whenever we are going to use any methods inside my class, either it is constructor or maybe it is a non-constructor, a very normal method, we have to pass one thing. Why is that? Whenever we call this thing, this one, this employee one, whenever we call this thing, by default it refers or it's there is one object. Very clearly I'm saying this thing very clearly, one object is hidden here. Whenever we call this thing, it definitely has something related to this one, because here there is nothing like this formatted. This is for my Java related. That's why we can declare suppose this is one constructor name or some body part here. Sorry. Okay. So in Java, we have the constructor by either it is default or maybe it is parameterized. So by default, it is assigned directly. Now in Python, what happened? As I told you that it has some value hidden inside here. What is the value? The value is nothing but the reference of its own. Got it? The reference of its own, nothing but the reference of this employee. So whenever we are going to pass it, whenever we are going to create the object here, we always have to use one keyword in between all of the method. That is the self keyword. So before self-care, let's start one of the, what is the reference? As I told you, the reference is the employee reference or the class reference. So let's declare with the reference. See, the error is gone. Clear? This thing clear? Everything, everyone? This thing actually you need to understand very clearly. So you can use
Please
any.
repeat once again.
Okay. As I told you that in Python, there is no structural way that Java represents of the object-oriented programming concept. So whenever we are going to create the object, nothing but this U1 or E2, this employee, it send something, nothing but it creates the reference. When at the time of initializer, it creates the reference. What would be the reference? What would be the reference type? The reference type is nothing but the class itself. The class itself is a reference to that. So we have to pass the way, we have to pass the value. This init method, as I told you, this init method is specially used to initialize something. Maybe it's a variable, maybe it's some kind of object, maybe it's some kind of method value, or maybe it's some kind of another class or another class members. So this init is always used to initialize something. Now at the time, whenever we are going to call this thing, this employee, it send the reference of its own, nothing but the reference of this employee. So that's why if I'm going to execute this thing, if I'm going to execute, see, there is one error. What is the error say? The error say that this init method, maybe there is another, there are lots of methods that should be the no issue, but whenever we are declaring the method, we always have to mention that by default it takes one argument, nothing but the argument of the, nothing but the argument would be the class reference itself. If I use some another method also, let it so it will execute actually. That I will say you that version upgraded, that's why some functionality changes. That is the abbreviated version of Python 3.7. That is advantage. We are running. Now this init method takes, it is said that it takes zero positional argument and one is given. Now see, it takes zero position argument. That means, see, here is, we did not declare any argument here, but one is given. So from where the one is came, the one is nothing but the reference of the employee. As I told you, it automatically, but by default it is declared, by default it is sent. Otherwise, how it is defined that this employee, basically it is calling the same thing, the same way. Because in Java or in Java way, there is no default constructor concept here present. We have to mention by forcefully or by externally, you have to mention it. Now comes to the init part. As this init method, so for what type of argument it is given, the argument would be nothing but the the reference of the class itself. I'm resolved it. Now see, I'm declaring the reference. Now I'm sending the class as a reference. Now see, it will execute. Okay. It is executed. Clear? Now if I call this one, this U1 method, let's check U1 dot so. See, the so it takes 0% argument, but one is given. That means whenever I'm calling it from the U1 dot so, nothing but again I have to send the reference of it. Let's send it. Well done. Clear? Up to this clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Now, what is the problem of this approach? See this very carefully. The problem is that this employee, I am passing the reference of the class. Okay. Now, the reference of this one and the reference of this one is different. Because their location, the objects are different. So I cannot use the same class reference into individual objects. It will throw some reflect, it will throw definitely. That's why a special type of keyword is given, nothing but a self keyword. This self keyword represent that it calls directly of the class itself. Nothing but its own class. It all directly calls. So let's run the file. See, it is running carefully. Clear? Now let you show the one thing. Now for now instance, I'm just removing this one also. If that execute, and I don't need this one also for right now. Let's call this. Okay. Now this employee.dict, what it represents, as I told you, it represents all the details of my class. Okay. Now what is there is, see, there is one constructor name as module, second one is that main, third one is the init. Now one thing you can see, let copy this whole content. I think you guys all find out. Now see, a dictionary, what is the value? A dictionary here, nothing but a key value pair that is present. See, that is my key, and this is the value. What would be the module? Module is main. The init function basically nothing but a function, some function that init with cross some references there. Okay. Why the references came? Why references came here? Nothing but whenever this init is used to initialize something, so whenever it's going to initialize, definitely there will be some reference. That's why the reference is allocated. Now this show is nothing but one method of it. So as where the e present, where the method located, nothing but the stack memory. So the store is present here into that memory, that is the value part of the show key. So as I told you that this description of the classes, it represents all the description. So there is nothing the documentation something, there is nothing that is present. Okay, so this represents what type of represent I declare here, nothing but C. This is employee details, that class details, not not I used the object, nothing but the U1. Now into the U1, see, there is one blank, no description is present here. Why is this thing? Let me write it down here also. Before comes to that part, this portion is clear, everyone. Nothing but it returns one dictionary. what would be the dictionary? What is the value of the dictionary? Nothing but the description of all the details about the classes. So don't need to go into the further, just realize that thing. Why I am showing this thing? Because one way, this e1.dict is blank here, but the employee dict has the value. Why it is blank? Because see, is there any value part we have giving here? There is no value part. That means there is no data member or there is no class member is present. We did not create anything. That's why this u1 is blank. Now let me show you something. Let's think it returns some value, name and age. Now this self.name equal to name, self.age equal to age. This thing you guys already seen. Now tell me if you remember this thing. Have you got this type of structure in Java?
Yes, I refer to
Getter, getter.
So what is, tell me, what is the functionality represent here using that function, using that?
current class.
I did not get your voice is cracking.
So it refer to the current object.
Current
Tell me, what is the difference between these two?
class.
This name and this name, what is the difference between these two? Either it is same or different.
So it will
This
store the
keyword,
so it will store the value in here, right? These dot name. We will access it from the name and we will store it in the name.
no, actually you caught up, but you cannot describe it. Okay. Basically, this keyword is used to represent the current class instance or current class method or current class constructor. Clear? Now this dot name equal to name. Now you guys see this name come from the class. This name come from the method parameter or method argument, and these, okay, let me, the blue name and this is a red name. This blue name is the member of the class. This red name is the member of the method arguments. Here this keyword is represent, this keyword created differences between the instance value and the class value. Nothing but this dot name represent the class data members, and this black name represent the data member of your method, a local data member. So whenever I will use this way, basically what happen, it will store the value inside my class data member. So you will find out that there is one kind of structure, like first there is string name, maybe it's a blank or maybe null. Then there is some kind of void get name or set name. Let set name. And here is one argument that's nothing but the name, string name. So this name is same thing. This name and this name is the same thing. Clear? Now, Python. Python, you don't have to declare that amount of constants. Just simply you represent self dot name equal to name. This name came from the object, is passed directly. This name is basically member of the class. And this is a self keyword. Now, whenever we use this thing, as I told you that Python is dynamically typing, so you don't have to declare this kind of structure, string name. Clear? So directly we can use that way, that format. Now you can ask me that one thing, instead of if I use this thing, the n, instead of that, so what happened? Because in Java, if we this name basically, if the parameter is different, then we don't need to declare this keyword here also. We only use if the name is same. Now if I use that format in Python, what happened? Either we have to declare the self or not. Yes, you have to declare the self, because this self dot name represent the class data member or the class members, and this in come from the argument from the constructor, from the object creation. Okay, so let me show it first. Now see, if I'm going to execute, see there will be one error. One error. Why one error? Because init is expecting this name and age, these two argument. We have to give this argument by default. So see, I'm giving two argument. One is Python, age is from 2005. One is Java, that is from 1991. Now see, now this E1 contains something. E1 contains two values. One is the name and the second one is the age. Okay, and as it is, it always comes with the dictionary format. Now one thing, this E1 is the object, so the object has only the initialization part, nothing but that part which has or which acquires the memory by itself. That's why this E1 contains that only up to this one, which is the bit data memory data part. Now you guys can ask me one thing, that this method is also the initialization part. It is physically exists also. We can call this thing. So why it is not bounded by this object? Because this show method is not dependent on E1. It is dependent on the class. It is member of the class. It is not the member of the object. That's why it is called. It is not showing into my dictionary here also. But this E1, it is what these two member is the member of the object as well as a member of the class. That's why these two members is described here. Clear? All? Everyone clear? Today I will not stretch more than of this, because this thing is little bit confusing. If any confusion is there, ask me.
Sir, why we use that dict dict?
This dict is used to describe. It returns a dictionary formatted description of the class or object. Nothing more. For that purpose only.
When we are calling that, when we are printing that, calling that function e1 dot dict, right? So it is going to the u equal to employee, then employee is going to the initialize self name, and it's
I
printing that.
didn't get your question. Can you repeat it once?
The thing is that when we are calling that e1 dot dict, right, it's giving the description, you said. So here we have not given diff equal to description, but still it is printing the value, that name.
Okay, you are asking about this. We didn't mention anything dict here, right? See, this dict is inbuilt function. This is the inbuilt constructor. We don't have to declare. This init is also inbuilt constructor. We don't have to declare. This init, we are basically accessing the init method. Okay, one concept you already know, that is the overriding. This init concept is defined something here into my some packages, inbuilt some Python packages, that is defined. We basically uses the method, and that is the structure of the method. The overriding technique, I think we already know. We can use it again and again into each of the class, but we have to maintain something. So that comes later. That's the next part. This dict is predefined method. We don't have to implement or access here. That's the data came.
Let run one by one. Just please run one by one. I want to just see.
Okay, first let me the console. Okay, first I'm okay. First let's run the first one. See, these two. Now, what is the difference between these two? I'm repeating this thing again.
Okay, sure.
First comes with this part, employee part. Okay, this is the one structure. This employee, what is this thing? Nothing but the class.
Yes.
Whenever we use this dict nothing but it returns the descriptive value of the class. Now here all the description of the class is related here. Which type of let's see.
The addresses of the employee of the class that everything is written. We can just see the description of the employees, that where the location is there.
See yeah, for the location, this is the description of the class. Okay, all that. Now why the location is here, this in is basically used for the initialization purpose. This show is also the physical existence, that's why this came function, this inbuilt came automatically from by default. Okay, this init, what is the init? The init is used to create the existence, that's why it has the memory as well as your this thing also, this show. Second way, if we can say, this init and show is a part of your object also. Okay, but this dict is a part of your completely your class. We can get the value, we can get some accessibility of the object using the dict also, but it is not completely part of your object. These two is a part of your objects. You can use these two things.
Okay.
Okay, now next is, let me open it again. This has all the details. Okay, and this e1, this has the details of the e1. Now as I'm telling you that what are the value part or what are the part of this object, nothing but these two data, Python and 2005. So these two data is came along with this name and the age. Okay, so why the show is not defined here into the e1, but it is defined into the class, but it is not defining into this e1. It as well is also the physical existence, because this show method it is not dependent, it is not a dependent of this e1, it is the dependent of the class, it is the member of the class, not the member of the object. That's why it is not showing here. Clear? Clear? Okay guys, I just give me a 1 minute. Okay, you just see this thing, I'm coming in 1 minute. Okay. Okay, so clear everyone, any doubt?
No,
This
no.
thing is a little bit confusing, just practice it. From next day I will start coding of this class or the object concept, and I will show the remaining characteristics. But in Python also, this abstraction, the encapsulation, most of that mostly conceptually used, but in practical purpose we don't need this thing. Only the class, the object may be inherited sometimes, but up to that much we only require. Okay,
Okay, so
so try this thing if you have no doubts. So first go through with this all. Okay, next day I will show you some coding part of this object oriented concept.